Many of you watching this training will remember when we used to talk about communication using the terms verbal and nonverbal. As you look at this pie chart, you will see that this little sliver would represent the verbal piece, and this rather large piece would represent 93% of what we used to call the nonverbal. I don't know about you, but doesn't that seem like a rather large, unexplained piece? There are numerous discussions, opinions, findings, and documented research studies on the topic of verbal and nonverbal communications. Probably the most widely cited research was conducted and published by Dr. Albert Mehrabian in his book entitled Silent Messages. As a result of his research, he determined that the verbal and nonverbal communication model could actually be broken into what he called the 3 V's of communication: verbal, vocal, and visual. In his model, verbal communication represents your words. Vocal communication refers to your tone of voice. Tone is made up of 4 parts: volume, pitch, speed, and vocal inflection, or the opposite of monotone. Visual communication refers to anything that someone can see as they watch you communicate, more commonly known as body language. Wikipedia cites the theory behind Dr. Mehrabian's research in this way. For effective and meaningful communication about emotions, these 3 parts of the message need to support each other. They have to be congruent. In case of any incongruence, the receiver of the message might be irritated by 2 messages coming from 2 different channels giving cues in 2 different directions. The following example should illustrate incongruence in verbal and nonverbal communication. If the verbal message is, "I do not have a problem with you," but the nonverbal message says, avoids eye contact, looks anxious, has a closed body language, etc., it becomes more likely that the receiver will trust the predominant form of communication, which according to Mehrabian's findings is nonverbal rather than the literal meaning of the words. This is known as the 7-38-55% rule. Let's refer back to the pie chart to review those percentages. His research referred specifically to non-congruent or mixed messages. A mixed message is where you say one thing with your words and possibly a different message with your vocal tone or body language. His research concluded that in a mixed message, 7% of the recipient's belief of your message is based on the verbal, 38% of their belief is based on the vocal, and 55% of their belief is based on the visual. These findings support that famous old saying, "It's not what you say, it's how you say it." In fact, it's 38% how you say it. Anytime you have a mixed message, the recipient will believe your vocal tone before they will believe your words. It also supports this Deborah's ditty: what people see is what they think they're getting. In Mehrabian's study, the 55% was based solely on body language, hand gestures, facial expressions, posture, nervous tics, or the speed of your walk. Quite often, we are completely unaware of when or how we are delivering a mixed message. And when we do deliver a mixed message, this leads to the recipient coming to an incorrect conclusion. This is why the speaker is held so much more responsible for the success of a communication than the recipient. As the speaker, we must take care to make sure our messages are congruent, that all parts of us are delivering the same message.